experience, knowledge and skill learned. This chapter will explain in details about the knowledge and skill I have learned during the industry training at Rohayati CO, the application of the theories during the training and reports the relevance of the theories to the real practice. Auditing department. The first day as an industry training student at Rohayati CO, I have been placed in the audit department and have been supervised by Ms. Shahira and Ms. Wan Zulaika. I have given the chance to do some of the audit process that will grow my understanding in the audit field. Through my industrial training, I had given chance to do auditing, vouching, statutory audit, audit confirmation, audit working paper, audit compiling process, and audit filing. Audit procedure. Inquiry. The audit query is based on the ledger that have been highlighted. In my opinion, the audit query only included the amount that is maturity and have a high risk based on the business nature. The audit query must be understandable for the client to read and clarify the queries throughout the audit process. Therefore, it must be detailed and easy to read. Vouching. Next, I have to learn how to do vouching in the audit department. Based on audit queries and the ledger that have been highlighted, I have to find the documents and make a photocopy for each of the document for the audit keeping documentation as the audit evidence. Confirmation. The confirmation must have the director's signature first before it is sent to the debtors and creditors for their signature. After the signature received, the confirmation is keeping in the files as the audit evidence for the future use. The bank confirmation is also sent to the bank that is used by the clients. The bank statements must have signature of the director. Filing process. There are 3 files involved in the filing process. The first file is audit files, second file is corresponding files, third file is permanent audit files. The audit files consist of all audit working paper including the management accounts, which are ledger, opening balance, trial balance, profit and loss statements, and statements of balance sheet. The corresponding files consist of the documents and letter that needs to be engaged with the clients. The last file is permanent audit file. That is permanent audit file consists of the document that is permanently used throughout the audit report preparation. After a few months, I had been placed in the accounting department and had been supervised by Sharifah Solehah or Katsha, the head of accounting department. Rohayati Co also has their own accounting software, for the example, Sagi UBS accounting software and Artos accounting software. Since the UBS software can be used by only 4 persons, which is 1 secretary and 3 accountants, this means I cannot use the UBS system because those 3 accountants would use that PC and the PCs have same server for the 4 people. So the head accounting department, Katsha, instead of use the system UBS, Katsha teach me how to use Artos accounting system. She told me the Artos system is easy to understand compared the UBS system that have many parts to understand. Firstly, I have to learn how to create a company profile in the system, how to use the shortcut keys, and finally posting account and start to do auditing. Based on my experience with this system, it is easier and very quicker for me to understand and easy to use also. In the accounting department, I managed to handle account from variety types of nature business consists of grocery stores, resorts, Rohayati Co and online sales. Next, ledger and journal entry. The very first task given to me is recording transactions that are in the bank statement. From the bank statements, by using payment vouchers and invoice, we recognize the payment in and payment out of the bank statements. By using Artos accounting software, I recorded each one of the transactions from the bank statements into cash book 1. For the cash book 0, used to insert the beginning balance of all the accounts. Preparation of financial reports. After I am done with key in figures all items in the document, I continue with the preparation for posting account. Before going further, I have to recheck all the accounts to make sure it recorded correctly. If there are payment from the last year invoice and the amount is not recorded in the accounts, the payment from the last year invoice and the amount is not recorded in the accounts, the payment is written off as expenses. MFRS 101 states that presentation of financial statements cover various aspects of preparing presentation and with general purpose of financial statements such as those incorporated in the annual report. Next, after posting the account will be passed to the audit department, and if there is no adjustment can be made by accountant. But if there are any adjustment that happen, it will be made by auditor in the audit working paper. Some of case for dormant company, before this I have done with the account and posting. After that I go to auditing department to do auditing. Chapter 3. Analysis of the selected issues. The impact of COVID-19 to audit and challenges facing by the auditor is the issues that I found while doing industrial training at Rohayati CO. Meanwhile, the extraordinary contemporary scenario resulting from COVID-19 has distributed the maximum numbers of professions throughout the world, with accounting and auditing being no exceptions. Chapter 3.2. Discussion of issues. There are three impacts of COVID-19 on auditing when I training at Rohayati Co. The first one is audit evidence. How auditor at Rohayati Co. collect audit evidence without physical contact with the clients in this current situation. For the example, how auditor observe the physical inventory counting in order to gain sufficient appropriate audit evidence regarding the existence and condition of inventory without physical contact with the client due to Movement Control Order or MCO announced by the Malaysian government. The recommendation for this audit evidence impact, I suggest auditor at Rohayati Co. needs utilization of all kind technology to assist the auditor. For example, auditor can use live call such as WhatsApp video call, Discord, Zoom, and Webex in order to gain appropriate and sufficient audit evidence. In my opinion, auditors should avoid recorded video because can be edited, and I hope the auditor take a print screen and screenshot as an evidence the audit procedure performed to defend the evidence as audit findings. Second impact faced by auditors at Rohayati Co. are auditing accounting estimates. There are some areas of concern noted in auditing accounting estimate most likely to be affected include: first, lease accounting obligation; second, expected credit loss for financial assets; third, deferred tax assets and government support. I will take an example of lease accounting obligation. As a result of COVID-19, Malaysian government has forced all non-essential stores to shut until it decides that it's safe to reopen again. COVID-19 has resulted in many entities renegotiating or planning to renegotiating rent payments, which may trigger to the application to the lease modification guidance of IFRS 16 lease. The recommendation: if a change in the lease payments does not result from a lease modification, that change would generally be accounted for as a variable lease payments. In this case, a lessee applies paragraph 38 of IFRS 16 and generally recognizes the effect of the rent concession in profit or loss. For an operating lease, a lessor recognizes the effect of the rent concession by recognizing lower income from the lease. The third impacts are modification to the opinion in the independent auditor's report. Because of COVID-19, auditors at Rohayati Co. is currently facing in gaining sufficient appropriate audit evidence could lead to modification to the opinion on independent auditor's report. There are three types of modified opinion. First, an adverse opinion. Second, a disclaimer opinion. Third, a qualified opinion. The nature of the matter giving rise to the modification, that is, whether the financial statements are materially misstated or, in the case of an inability to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence, may be materially misstated. The auditor's judgment about the pervasiveness of the effect of possible of the matter on the financial statements. The recommendation of this impact are: the auditor shall disclaim an opinion which auditor unable to obtain sufficient audit evidence. Next, the auditor shall specify qualified opinion when auditor unable to obtain enough appropriate audit evidence. Moreover, the auditor shall express an adverse opinion when auditor have received enough sufficient appropriate audit evidence, conclude the misstatement, individual or in the aggregate, are both material and pervasiveness to the financial statements.